The Great Awakening begins in the body with a simple question. Is that true? Asking casts a spell that awakens a dormant sonar, revealing a new dimension of perception. This dimension is the sensation of truth. As our ears perceive sound and our eyes perceive light, so does the intuition perceive truth. Feedback comes as a vibration through your bones. It generates electricity you can feel in your shoulders. The truth resonates inside us like a tuning fork. This sense remains dormant until we are brave enough to ask, is that true? The propaganda of groupthink is hypnotic. We are contained in a playground behind a chain-link fence of thought. Some of us were lucky to be cast out of that perimeter. Ostracization led us to claw our way out of the cave and into a new light. This truth burns our skin with its radiation. This new reality carves its way into our eye holes like a hot, sharp razor on the tip of a needle. This truth is a sizzling disinfectant. It stings our cuts like a bitchy wasp. This truth is not for everyone. This book illustrates the blueprints of mind control. Each chapter reveals the shepherd's crook used to herd your thoughts. This crook is a staff that both pokes you and prods you. You feel these jabs and the jolts of shame or admiration. The crook is used to convince us we are misguided. It makes our lives miserable until we agree. Once we comply with its orders, it gives us gentle guidance. We are charmed by the cessation of its rebuke. This is the crook of mind control that makes us lost sheep with our eyes closed. It's in family, history, law, medicine, politics, religion, science, and thought. Seeing the crook uncloaks the silent shepherd. All you have to do is open your eyes and ask the question. So go ahead, ask the question. Is it true? Hi, everybody. Welcome to Tuesday. This is episode 82, A Tale of Fire and Isis, and I'm really glad to see you all here. Thank you for being here. I'm assuming that the audio is good. What you just heard me read was the very introduction to my book, Blueprints of Mind Control. The reason why I'm bringing that up right now is because someone sent me a message this morning saying, "Hey, I read your book and now I don't have any friends. Thanks a lot." And I should have listed that as a warning on the cover. In fact, it's been suggested to me that I add a subtitle saying how to lose friends. And that is true. That is absolutely how it happens. Because when you awaken, you climb out of a pit. And as you climb out of the pit, everyone inside the pit is looking back at you saying, "Get your ass back in here." Or, to put it bluntly, "How dare you?" This system that we have all around us is only surviving because we have weak egos. Because we have weak systems. Because our captain does not feel like it is sovereign. Our captain feels like it needs an outer guidance. It needs a lighthouse of government to show it where to go, how to get there, and what's in store. Some of you have lost friends like I have. I have lost so many. I could not count how many I have. Whether it starts with my childhood friends to the last round of friends that I had here in town, to even the friends that I had in Asheville, a very liberal, progressive city. It was palpable how many times I would find myself in the middle of a tribe and going, "Oh, these people are going to hate me in about 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And it happens. And they smell me, and they smell you. They smell pride. They smell self-satisfaction. They smell self-fullness. And they fucking hate it. And they're coming for you as long as you keep trying to be their friend. As long as you keep looking for a missing piece inside of them. And that missing piece is the illusion of Zionism. It's the illusion of germ theory. It's the illusion of every single psyop that's ever been played on you since the day you were born. That's how it happened, and that's how it got here. Thank you, Terry Elrod. Good morning, all, and thank you, James True. Thanks for the super chat. Appreciate that. So, here we are in the best apocalypse ever. Please don't let the thumbnail fool you. I realize that the thumbnail on this movie felt kind of ominous. On this live stream, felt kind of ominous. I almost changed it. In fact, I changed it, then changed it back, then changed it, then changed it back, and I was like, just own it, dude. Just own it. The reason why I want you to see this thumbnail, this one right here, is because the picture on the left was rendered in 2012. And the picture on the right was rendered in 2019. And the difference between these two pictures is one is a rendered movie out of the movie I Pet Goat, which shows the Notre Dame collapsing, for those of you on podcast, and the one on the right is the actual Notre Dame burning to a crisp, 7 years apart. The first one was 2012. The second one was 2019. Now, we've discussed iPet Goat before. I've pointed out that the coronavirus is also in iPet Goat. I also pointed out that the spiritual awakening, the Great Awakening itself, is outlined in iPet Goat. In fact, it ends with the awakening of Jesus carving the Set canoe out into a golden sun. It is quite a powerful image, and I think it's important right now, if you're looking to see what the weather brings. There is a psychic weather out there, and that weather is controlled by something different than HARP. It's controlled by wizards, WARP. It's wizard weather, aerial, or it's affecting your psyche because different psyops, different events are brought to the stage, and everyone who is sucked into the drama watches them. You guys know this. Sneeze coming. Thank you. Now, we used to find these out and say, see, they're trying to mock us. We used to see this and say, see, it proves they're evil. We used to see these signs of things to come and look at them as a negative thing. They were negative information. It was ominous. It was, oh my God, they're trying to scare us. They're trying to mock us. Here they are. But since we developed this new aperture, by the way, someone yesterday commented that I say aperture too much. And so aperture. I'm going to keep talking about aperture. I don't really give a shit if you think I say it too much because no one else is talking about it. In fact, aperture itself is the key to this whole place. This whole endeavor that we are on requires aperture. And I will keep saying that because people like Ethan Betts hook me up. Thank you, sir. Thank you for being you. Appreciate the super chat. Because of this aperture, we can now look at these things that are happening around us and go, hey, it's kind of funny. That's actually freaking hilarious. And when you start to laugh, a different kind of energy happens. My friends, Rudolf Steiner is a freaking genius. And the reason why I don't talk about him yet is because I have not finished drinking in that freaking prana. That juice, that go juice that came out of that man's brain is licktastic. It is so good. But I'm not done researching him. I'm still reading that stuff. I've listened to probably 80 hours of content from Rudolf Steiner. And I wish I could do it again. I wish I had the time right now to re-listen to that same stuff. Trying to. There you go. Someone, guys. I don't mind cussing. So whenever like OKC Bear, Guitar Bear, why do you not have a wrench, OKC Guitar Bear? What the hell's wrong with this place? What's wrong with this place? Get from God. Thank you. Super chat, $4. Now, this aperture is helping us. It's helping us. Oh, Rudolf Steiner. When you cry, you are generating negative electrons. Why? Because you're leaving salt. Salt is leaving your eyes, and that leaving of the salt is what causes an alchemical connection. Holy shit, I hope Benjamin Balderson hears this because I'd love to talk about this more. As you secrete tears, as you secrete salt, you are upping your negative electrons. You are in a state of crying where you have a negative field. Negative's not a bad word here. Please stop thinking that. You have a negative field. You are in a state of negative, which means positive brought into you is allowed to flow. You need positive energy. When you cry, people comfort you. Why? Because they're completing your electric field, right? They're giving you positivity to help your negativity. They're feeding you because they care about you, all right? So when we cry, we broadcast a negative state. Now when we laugh, we broadcast a positive state. Ha 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 is the expungement of electrons. Electrons leave us with a positive charge. Okay? This positivity is what causes you to elevate. You feel elevated from the positivity that's coming from someone that's telling you something funny. These systems, these fields of negative and positive, are how we live the world. And you are not supposed to walk up and be positive all the time. That's what's called boring as fuck. If you'd like to maintain that positivity, you're probably going to have to stick something up your asshole and just kind of keep a plug there to maintain that positive state. I don't want you in my life. Most people don't want you in your life because you're too positive. Okay, that's called toxic positivity, and it's awful, awful stuff. 2 bings of aperture, please. You got it coming up. And thank you, Caveman Bear, and Simon33. Good to see you guys. Glad to see you guys there. Good morning, Mike Sweeney. Let me give you a wrench, sir. Please use it wisely. Please use it wisely. I'm not able to give you a wrench. Sorry. There you go. Now, this aperture that we have allows us to see the benefits of both positive and negative, because when someone's sad, we know that someone's going to be gaining prana by comforting them. When someone's happy, they're going to be gaining prana by being able to help someone sad. All of these are necessary alchemical transactions that we have. They cause us to unite, or they cause us to repel each other. It's either or, right? They're going to make us do one or the other. Hey, buddy. How's it going?
Oh, pretty good. Just coming in for a little sugar juice there. This is some good sugar juice you got. Just want to tell the audience out there, this is the best apocalypse ever. I just came up from Brazil, and things are tense there, but you know, everyone's got a real good positive vibe to them. Everyone's looking around like, hey, everything's coming out to the light. So this coronavirus really is like the best thing ever happened to us. I'm really happy for it. So yeah, you guys are good guys. Yeah.
Enjoying Americano. Thanks for rating our aperture. Thank you, Kevin. I appreciate that. Now, let's get to it. Oops. We'll get to that. Come on, James. Come on. Don't be so. Oh, you're ruining the joke. Okay, here we go. Same picture. Telling you what's coming. Are they mocking you? Sure seems like it, doesn't it? Here's Dick in her pants showing. I'm sorry. I really need to stop teasing Michelle Obama. I really do. I honestly, guys, I don't know if she is a she or a he. I just find it funny. And as Rudolf Steiner teaches me, laughter is good. So I'm probably going to refer to her as a man alive. It just makes me laugh. So this felt like mocking. Here is Michael off the coast of Notre Dame as it's burning on a tour boat. This allegedly. And you could even see her in the reflection, the picture of Notre Dame, right? She's actually on the, that is called the Seine? The Seine River? Anyway, she's checked. If it's not the Seine, I'm so sorry. Pretty sure it is, though. Now, does that feel like mocking? Yes. That absolutely feels like mocking. To be drinking champagne as Notre Dame is burning is definitely mocking. But what it does is it allows certain people in the Q movement, in the truth movement, to find that picture and go fucking ape nuts, right? Seriously. They go ape nuts. They technically get a hard-on for that. They see this picture and they're like, oh my God, I'm going to expose this. And as they're shaking right now, it's very fast, they're teaming off electricity. They're putting that out. And that buzzing is contagious. And they make a post about it, they make a tweet about it, and others come in and say, I am liking that honey, my friend. I am liking this pollen. I'm going to spread it. And they retweet it. Now, because they retweeted it, I would like for you to look at them retweeting it as the adjuvant. Michelle Obama is drinking in the Notre Dame fire for the sole purpose of applying the adjuvant to the vaccine. The adjuvant is what makes your body go, holy shit, we've got a fire in Sector 4, right? That's what this picture's for. And when you have a picture like this, it allows everyone to see that and say, they are fucking mocking us. How dare they? And you see the start of the exact same train that's always here. Okay, I'd like to picture yourself at a party, and you're at that party and you're having a great time, and someone starts a train, right? You know, where you put your hands on someone else's hips and you're walking around, hey, right? And you're doing that over and over and over again. And then you have fun, and finally the train breaks up, and you want to go back to talking to someone because you were having a great conversation before, but you didn't want to be a dick, so you stopped that. So you come back and you're like, so anyway, Frank, what I was saying is that there's this concept to your eye where the retinas themselves, man, I'm telling you, it's melanin, not melatonin, it's melanin. Melanin's controlling, and it's like, whoa, another train is broken out. And now you're in another train, and you're hey, and you're now going through this train process, and you were no longer discussing the important things in life. You were now on your second train, and you're kind of like, wow, that was stupid. We just did a train like 3 minutes ago. Whatever. Obviously, some people are drunk. I'll just go along with it. And after about like the 6th or 7th train, something happens in the crowd. 5% of them are like, okay, I'm going the fuck home. 95% of them are too ashamed at this point to stop. 95% of them are like, look, if I'm going to do it the 9th time, I'm going to do it the 10th. I'm definitely going to do the 11th. This is just how it goes. I'm fucking stuck here. Can someone please help me, right? This is a highway robbery, right? There's a train robbery happening. And I'm telling you, that's what happens here. That's what happens here. I'd like to remind you guys that this Saturday I had an argument with a guy because he thought Wayne Sexton was real. And he was offended at me that I hadn't done enough research to debunk that she was real. And why? Because he found a Facebook post that had a date on it. And so he decided, no, I don't have to believe CNN because I can believe Facebook. He decided that this other train, right, was better. He decided that no. We can't assume all this is real. In fact, you're at fault for doubting it, James. You're the one at fault for doubting this. The burden was on me to prove that CNN is not true. And that's systemic psychopathy, which we talked about yesterday. That is built into the system. This tendency to ingest and regurgitate and take in everything that you're told. That's bad. It's really bad. It requires a weak ego. That requires you being in the 15th train at the party and doing it for 16 times because you don't have the fucking ego to spend to say, look, this is clearly a joke. One of you started this to see how many times you could make stupid people do a train around this thing, and it took me 16 times, but I'm finally there. Most of us don't have the ego to spend on that. Most of us will spend the rest of the night following around this train. Guys, this is how it works. You are in the kiddie pool. I'm not saying you're a kiddie, but you really need to look at yourself and understand. Guys, we are in a kiddie pool of sorts. We are. There's things we can do. Things we are already doing. Okay? We can wall off our portions of water so no pee gets in. We can set up an outer perimeter of baby Ruths where we've told everyone else that we are the ones that are gross, that they need to repel ourselves. We have all kinds of tactics and tricks that we can use, but we're only going to use them if we're in a positive state. If we're in a state where we can think positively about everything that's happening around us. It picks us up. And it's hard because if you don't burn the calories past the shell and realize this is an adjuvant to get your attention, you're not able to see what's next. Why? Because the last train that came through was the migrant horde. This picture was taken on 10/19/2018. 10/19/2018. October 19th, 2018. 2.5 weeks before the midterm election. Do you see it yet? You see it. Right? This is another train. But this is like, oh my God, migrants are hoarding. Honduran horde is coming. They're coming to get us. We should build a wall. This is the adjuvant, isn't it? This picture is the adjuvant. This is the picture that tells your body, boom, we got trouble. We're going to have to fucking vote. Right? And you call in your T cells, your Republican cells and your Democrat cells. And you're like, oh, you guys need to come save us. That's what happens. Why? Because there's an adjuvant. It takes an adjuvant. But things are not always what they seem, are they? I'd like for you to look closer at this image. I'd like for you to use your aperture and your discernment. I would like to challenge all of you to look so hard that you understand that there is not plywood here. That what this shop owner has done is printed out sheets of paper that look like plywood and taped them to the windows. Things are not what they seem. This guy gets it, doesn't he? Facade. Facade. The facade is the thing. For it matters not what's true. It matters what people think is true. That will always be the case on the battlefield. You guys know that. Yeah, it's a print. Dan gets it. Smart. Although they should have brought the plant in, because I bet you that plant's like, well, fuck, what am I? Chopped liver? Anyway. Abby Brown gave an update. She was in Seattle and said this. Just gave my last $10 to a black gentleman in Chaz. I'm fairly certain this is the third time he has approached me asking for the $10 fee for my being white. He alternates between wearing a fake mustache and glasses. How do I handle this situation without being racist? It's a good question, Abby. I think you need to bring more money because you are in a train. And that train is part of the Seattle party. And you cannot hang out at the Seattle party and think that you do not have to participate in the train. Because that train is going to drown everything out around you. Everything. Caveman Bear, don't let me down. Now, these systems, oh wow, what an ironic thing. I don't know if you guys caught that, but I just gave Caveman Bear a wrench as he was giving me a super chat. That's pretty freaking weird, man. I hope someone notices that. That's kismet. I love it. I love it. Wow, that was weird. So, poor Abby, right? She needs to leave Chaz. She needs to get out. Now, guys, the reason why you can discern what's real. You can discern what's real. How do you know Black Tom matters? That is hilarious. I'm getting ready to talk about that. That's funny, Howie Dunn. You know these aren't real because of this. You can measure the litmus of a true organic movement by how white these buildings stay, by how non-graffitious, right, non-graffitus these buildings suffer from. I guarantee you that if none of these buildings suffer from riots, this is a government-sponsored event. Now, I'm using the word government loosely. All right? Government is a leviathan, right? It's a slowly plotting, endless entity of sloth and psychopathy. Yeah, you get it. That's your litmus. You can use common sense and you can see right through these. Every single one of them you can see right through. Callie says they are going to run a different train in Chaz. Yeah, I'd say so. There's definitely I would not want to be in Chaz right now. Even as a documentarian, I wouldn't want to be there. I feel like it's like those videos you hear about, like 2 Girls, 1 Cup. There's this intuition that if you watch that, you'll never be the same. I think that's what Chaz is. Chaz is turning into this ritual of initiation where everyone in Chaz will never be the same. They will suffer from PTSD, they already have, but they will suffer from something deeper because all of them have chosen to be there. All of them have said, yeah, this is a great idea. So they are maestros for their own destruction. And that actually makes it worse. It's a better lesson to learn, but I don't know if they're going to have enough calories to actually pull it off. I don't know. It may be that they're not going to be able to pull out of that. That's a tough one to pull out of, guys. But as we look at this trauma all around us, we see clearly that all this stuff, every bit of this is a gift of Baal. Every bit of it. Think about the worst mistake you ever made. Now think about what you learned from it. It's beautiful. This is an alchemical processing station. Thanks, Goofenheimer. Thanks for the super chat. This is an alchemical processing station we live in. We need lessons like this. We need to hit walls like this so we can understand what's happening around us. Now, right now on Twitter, in the right column, if you look at, what's trending? The trending hashtag today is no anti-black racism. I'm not kidding. I know I tell you to prove my lips all the time. This is a legitimate trending hashtag today. No anti-black racism. Guys, please do the math on this and realize that it literally says racism will be allowed as long as it's pro-black. That is the next train. But this train, everyone has pulled their pants down and they're around their ankles. So now instead of a train where people are like and kicking, it's more like shuffle, 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 cuff. Shuffle, 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 cuff. Right? And unless you're wearing corduroy, actually, people wearing corduroy, it's going to make a loud noise. It's a different kind of train, guys. And the pants are only going to drop more. This is only going to get worse. You do not want to be at this party. You need to slowly back away and say, guys, I don't want to take a train. I'm going to walk home. All right? I'm going to walk home. So, as we continue down this lane of no anti-black racism, most of us are getting wise to it, but others aren't. And on June 15th, NPR announced that the UN Human Rights Council will hold an urgent debate on police brutality and racism. All of this spurred by George Floyd. This is the UN embargo over social justice. This is the system that they want to put in place for those who want help, for those who have a fetish for chains. They will install a new kind of cop. Now, this kind of cop is not going to be from your local community. This kind of cop will come from far away. It will be a migrational cop. This is something that you don't want. There's nothing less racist about the UN. In fact, as you understand what racism truly is, you start to see that it's a pyramid scheme. When you say that you have white privilege, you have bought into Amway. You have bought into a pay-it-forward system on virtue, where you're saying, I will give you a profit for indoctrinating me into your pyramid scheme, Mr. NPR, Mr. whoever. I will give you this profit and claim I am white privilege, which means you get the credit, you get the virtue credit for converting me. And I understand that anyone else I convert into the system of white privilege will therefore pay me. So you end up with an Amway. You end up with a pyramid scheme, right? You've got level 1. You've got 6 people that are going, I have white privilege. Oh my God, I have white privilege. What am I going to do? And they go out and they recruit 6 other people. And now all 36 of them, well, white privilege, white privilege, I have white privilege. They go out and they get 216. And then those go out and get 1,296, and then 777.6, and then 46656. The next thing you know, by level 11, you are now surpassed what we claim to be the U.S. population. 2 more iterations, and you now have more people than we claim to have in the world. This is a pyramid scheme. And you feel better by buying into it by saying, yes, I have white privilege. Why? Because you save calories. You save calories instantly. Because now you get to go around going, hey, I have white privilege. I have white privilege. I got a button. See, look, I have white privilege. And that saves you calories. And that's a prana economy. It's a legitimate prana economy. I'm not even telling you shouldn't do it, because honestly, if I had your aperture, if I was in your cockpit, and I was going around telling everybody how shitty the ego was, and how awful I was for thinking myself highly, right? And how shamed I was for having genitals that were outside my body, or shamed I was for not having enough melanin in my skin, I would buy into that too. You guys would too. If your fuel was that low, you would buy into white privilege. You would enter into this pyramid scheme. And that's what's happening all around us. That's what our world has turned into. A giant pyramid scheme of virtue. This is Amway. That's all. You're looking at Amway. Right? I will buy my cereal from Amway. If I can get my neighbors to buy the cereal from Amway, I make money. I will claim white privilege. If I can get someone else to claim white privilege, I will be considered someone who fought racism by eradicating it, by getting more people to admit that they're white privileged. It's another train. It's a virtue train. Why? Because they sold the idea that government saved black people. I think this is probably the most racist thing I've ever seen. But this is actually Wikipedia Black Lives Matter stuff. This is telling the black people that they were only okay because of government. That it was DC, the federal government, that came in and made them all better. Because it was the Union that stopped slavery. This is Vietnam. This is the Union stopping slavery in Vietnam. We stopped slavery in the Civil War. We stopped slavery in Vietnam. Do you see the train yet? Do you? Joseph Paul, thank you. AKA Elvis Bear. Oh, geez, you made off with my money. Oh, geez. I also missed 2 more super chats earlier. Sorry about that. They were good ones, though. I appreciate it. Oh, morning, James. Sorry I'm late. Here's your daily Brussels sprouts from me. Thank you, Guy Bear. Thank you. I read, or someone told me, got my book today. Thanks for all you do. Hey, cool, Anthony. Let me know what you think about that book. I found out yesterday that the reason why Brussels sprouts are bitter is because we harvest them all at once. Turns out if you harvest those things slowly, they're not bitter. I did not know that. Did not know that. The more you unlearn, right? It's great. Now, this is Zionism, and this is Zionism. And if you're not sure what I mean, I need you to understand that Zionism is the belief that you are broken. Zionism is the belief that you are so broken that you should not ever, ever, ever keep more ego in your tank because you're too dangerous. You can't be trusted to use it. Zionism is the belief in gun laws. Zionism is the belief that the entire world is under slavery and it requires us to go in and fix it. That's what Zionism means. And if you look deeply inside your energetic core, you will find that at your spiritual root, Zionism has snuck in and told you you're evil. And because of that, most of the world falls for this train crap. Most of the world listens to this idea that black lives weren't mattering and that the only kind of racism that's allowed is no anti-black racism. If you guys can't see the systemic psychopathy in that hashtag trend, you're missing something huge. Because it's there. It's definitely there. Thank you for the super chats. You guys are awesome. Thank you, Tyler Sierra. I'm sure we would all love to hear you plug your upcoming documentary or the status of it. I can do that. Elvis Bear. Oh, yeah, got that one too. I tried to do a search for police brutality. This is a tough one. What I'm getting ready to talk about. I tried to do a search for police brutality. What I mean is, this was in Atlanta, in front of a burning Wendy's. This is one cop surrounded by protesters. And he's holding his own. He's doing really well. He's telling them what he thinks. He's like, hey, don't burn down the Wendy's. And I started to think, James, if you're really going to be this like compassion cavalier, where you're talking how important it is to have compassion, can you put your aperture into a cop's body right now? Can you put yourself into a cop's soul and look out their eyes at what's happening around you? And I tried it, and it was startling. And to show you how startling, I tried to think, how can I convey this to these fine people that join me for this Pranic live stream? And I thought, I know, I will research brutality against police. I will find how police maybe have been making out during all this. And no matter how many times I Googled brutality against police or anti-police brutality or quotes, police were beaten, quotes, right? Or it didn't matter what I typed in. Google would only show me police beating up people. There was no option for me to find the opposite. Now, you could say that, well, that's because the opposite doesn't happen. You could say that. That would be an argument. And anyone that's died as a cop in the line of duty wouldn't count or whatever. We'd somehow find a way to dismiss them because of the systemic racism or the systemic, it's so easy to pick on cops. I mean, it really is. It's it's so easy. I'm not even going to go over it. I'm not even suggesting you should stop. I'm not here to change your behavior. I'm not here to say you shouldn't do that. All I'm here is to say is, hey, what happens if you put your compassion over here? Holy shit, that's hot. That's the only reason why I'm here. Gravy Train, thank you, Fiji Bear. That's the only reason why I'm here. I'm not here to change you. I'm not here to tell you you're thinking wrong. Fuck no. I'm glad you're thinking. I'm glad you're disagreeing or agreeing. I want you in your cockpit. And when I look at what it looks like to be a police officer right now, it is a fascinating perspective. Because I can't find an image anywhere to show you that there's such a thing as police being brutalized by someone else. I can't show it to you because it's not there. It's not allowed into the zeitgeist. It's the same thing as using the word self-full, isn't it? It's the exact same thing. Thanks, Brandon FPV. Self-full is a word you can't find. You're not sure where it is. Doesn't even know if it's a real word. And brutality against police is the same. I would like for you to picture you're inside the mosh pit and you're taking down some statues. You've set fire to the Wendy's and the police come in and they start cracking fucking heads. And you were there. You didn't burn down the Wendy's. You were there to peacefully protest. That's what you're telling yourself. I didn't have anything to do with that. I was just hanging out in the parking lot in front of it, but I didn't have anything to do with that. That's what you tell yourself. And the next thing you know, a cop comes in and fucking hits you right in the face with mace. You're crying, you're on the ground, you're coughing up shit. You've been terrorized and you didn't deserve it. And you claim this is so unfair. You claim that it's because maybe the color of your skin, if that's convenient. The first thing you do is you try and find distance from the police officer. How am I different from that police officer? One, he's not a person. He's a cop. That's the first thing you do, is you tell yourself that was not a person, that was a cop. Second thing you do, you assign him characteristics that make you feel safe. All right? You establish distance from him. You call him a racist. You call him stupid. You call him ugly. You call him mean. You call him cruel. You call him a psychopath. You call him whatever it takes to make your psyche feel better. Your limbic system is going, can you give me distance between this other creature who has threatened me with bear mace? And your neocortex is like, yeah, it's coming up. Let's call him a black man because you're white. That'll make you feel like there's a lot of difference. And your limbic system is like, yes, I will accept that. We are very far apart because he is black and I am white. And therefore we are different, which means we have a chasm between us. And me, the limbic system, feels more comfortable, right? You believe it or not, this is what fucking happens inside your system. You start to create this metamorphosis of who you are to self-soothe. It's a natural part of this system. But now do the same thing to the cop. Do the exact same thing to the cop. What does it feel like? You've been patrolling those same streets. You've eaten at that Wendy's every day. You know, the neighborhood. You helped Glenda have her baby. You did this, you did that. And you walk by and they're fucking burning it down. And you look and the people aren't even from your sector. They're not even from the neighborhood. You're looking at plates from Dallas. You're looking at plates from DC. You're looking at plates from frickin' Minneapolis. And you're like, what the fuck is going on here? And you walk in, and you're mad and you're upset because someone's taken over your turf. And you go up to the first person who's there, cheered it on, you hit him in the face with mace. Is that right? Is that wrong? Again, I'm not here to tell you either one's right or wrong. I'm here to tell you how fucking energy works. That's all. My only goal is to tell you how energy works. And what happens is both sides say something. I'm going to send a message. Both sides say, I'm going to send a message. And the boyfriend of the girl that got bear maced is going to pick up a brick and he's going to throw it at the cops. And that cop's partner is going to get hit right in the head. He's going to suffer concussion. And now your partner, who you watched him give birth to his daughter, you watched him, his back and your back, all of you were there during that fire once, you were there during that rescue, you were there during this, you were there during that, and you just watched your partner go down. And now you're going to send a message. And now both sides are sending a message. Both sides are now engaged. There's something we do interesting to cops. There's something we do interesting to black people. If cops do not behave like Jesus, they're bad. If blacks do not behave like blacks, they're Uncle Toms. If cops do not behave like Jesus, they are corrupt. If blacks do not behave like blacks, they are Uncle Toms. Please hear that. Please understand that that is what society, the zeitgeist, has done. They've installed those two polarities. You don't even have the language to fix it. It is so deeply systemic that you realize it's the same train that's been going on the entire time at this party. And it's only getting worse. And there's a reason why only 11% appreciate the term Black Lives Matter. You think, oh, well, it's just bad marketing, or it's just the white guys just don't understand the black issues, that's why. No. The reason why Black Lives Matter only appeals to 11% is because it was designed that way. Because that's its purpose. That's why it was brought here. That's why all of us talk about it and buy into it. Chris Jones, thank you so much for the super chat. Gotta get a better ringer. I'm eternally grateful for you for sharing your aperture of these events with us on a daily basis. You've helped avert a lot of despair and squirting. Thanks, James. Thank you, Chris. It's the same thing. Keep crushing. Thanks, man. Thanks, Mela Ronan. I like that name. Mela Ronan. Please support Benjamin Balderson, says Ripson. I could not agree more. Support Benjamin Balderson. That dude just uploaded a video yesterday where he showed you how to clean out electrolytes in his battery system. He's got a 48 volt system. He's got, I think I saw like 18 batteries in there, maybe more. But it's great. You know, Benjamin Balderson doesn't use a power company. He is his power company. How can you not support that? Meanwhile, we live in a system where we have to have cops to give us justice because we can't hold justice in our own hands, and those cops are evil for implementing justice. And then you end up having to send signs back and forth. You're sending a sign. Guys, I want you to look closer at this sign. I'm not trying to be gross, but I'd like you to notice two things. One, they're protesting black cock. And notice, they're not saying it's wrong. And two, they're all white people. It says, don't open your mouth for black dick and keep it closed for black rights. Right? And those are white people. If you look at the pigment of the skin, I'm being racist right now, of the person holding that sign, those are white hands. That's a white face right there. The reason why I had such a bad episode that one day where I felt like really bad is because I talked a lot about black cock. Sorry about that. But I was talking about it because I was picking up on something Owen Benjamin had brought up, which I think is just more true. Look, it's really hard to, he said hard, it's really hard to not see this stuff for what it is. It's really hard. The Civil War was not about slavery. I'm going to do a whole episode on that. Some of you guys have asked about that. Tell me more about the Civil War, and it's coming. I can't wait. I can't wait to tell you more. I can't wait to tell you the reason why racism is here is because it was installed. We're already seeing that now. And if we're not careful, we'll end up with the UN coming in to fix it for us, right? Coming in because of George Floyd. It's going to be too expensive for you to save one of these cities. Your magic is not going to work there. You were dealing with a limbic system now. You were dealing with reptilians fighting reptilians. The cops who were defending these districts, the ones, think about it. Think about what it means to keep your job as a cop during all this. Think about that. What kind of cops are going to remain? What kind of message are they going to send? These are reptilians versus reptilians now. Black Lives Matter is a reptilian organization. Remember yesterday when I got on to BLM Norfolk because of Chris Green? He's the guy that suffered a massive head injury and permanent brain damage as a result of a statue landing on him. He may die. That's why I titled the episode that. Well, I looked into that organization, BLM's 757. You know what their demand is? Do you know what their demand is in which it was worth killing Chris Green for this, or destroying his family, I should say? They want a national holiday in the state of Virginia. That's why. They're willing to crack open Chris's skull, and their only demand is we want a holiday on June 19th. That's how much their Black Lives mattered. That's how much it was worth. Who cares about black people in this? Cops? Or Black Lives Matter? I'm serious. Who do you think cares more for black people? It's freaking insane, isn't it? It's insane to do that math and to truly add up the prana and realize, wow, cops care for black lives more than Black Lives Matter does. And I think you see the systemic psychopathy invading our universities. Because Chris Green died because the University of Norfolk decided it was worth it because they wanted a holiday. It's a deep gift of all. I really, really, really hope that more people see it as quickly as possible. It's why I decided to do this episode again. I try and stay out of the zeitgeist. I try and stay out of the mainstream because there's so much to unlearn. I'd rather just focus on topics that have that. But the reason why I stay with racism, for what it's worth, it's really tricky for me to talk about racism because I grew up in the South because I grew up in a Confederate Civil War town, it's even harder. People that I went to high school with, there's a guy named Andy Burke. He's the mayor of Chattanooga now. And he's shut down an entire Confederate cemetery because he thinks it's racist. And I grew up with that guy. And I know he's not an idiot. I know why he's doing it. I know why politicians use black lives as fodder. And the reason why is because Lincoln did it. And the reason why is because Vietnam did it. And the reason why is because Iraq did it. We freed Iraq from slavery. We freed Panama from slavery. We freed Venezuela from slavery. We freed Cuba from slavery, or tried to. We freed Iraq from slavery, Afghanistan from slavery, Vietnam, Korea, Cambodia, Laos, Burma. All we've done, the Falkland Islands, all we've done is liberate slaves every 1.3 years. And that's what Black Lives Matter wants. They want the government to come in and liberate them. Just like this. And that's why Black Lives Matter will never, ever, ever touch these monuments. We are sharecroppers for our own time. We don't even realize that. We are literal sharecroppers for our own time because of income tax. Income is the taxation of your time. Your time, according to these people, doesn't belong to you. Black Lives Matter does not care. Black Lives Matter wants you to be a time sharecropper, because Black Lives Matter is here to make slaves, not to liberate them. And it's the same lesson that happens over and over and over and over again. What pretends to be the cure is the disease. It's the two serpents of the caduceus. It's allopathic medicine. Other hurt, right? Other damage. It's systemic psychopathy. It's a train at the party where people just won't stop dancing because it pays. All of this comes from our lack of asking, is that true? And that passage I read at the top of the stream was a call for people to ask, is that true? It's from my book, Blueprints of Mind Control. And I outline in that book, I'm not asking you to buy it, I'm outlining in that book the 3 tenets that make you join that train, that make you think the government is here to stop slavery. The first step of mind control is convincing you you're broken. You're a racist. The second step of mind control is convincing you that the cure is not inside yourself, that you need outside help. You need the government. You need the UN. You need someone else to come in. You need a college to educate you about your white privilege. And the third is to extract and use you as recruitment. Those are the 3 steps of mind control. Convince you're broken, offer you a cure, require your service for the cure. And if you go out and find more people that are racist, if you go out and convince more people that they have white privilege, we'll go a little bit easier on you. You will step up in the ladder, right? You will rise on the pyramid. That's what Candace Owens is. But we're so screwed up that because Candace Owens is not, I'm going to drop it. We can't even hold each other equally accountable because of Black Lives Matter, because of Blexit. Blexit and Black Lives Matter are the same thing. Black exit, Black Lives Matter, BLE, BLM. It's the same energy. It's the same train. I know some of us don't see that yet. But it's true. $85,000 profit for being called a bad word. Are you going to want to be called a bad word? For $85,000, would you let someone call you a bad word? Would you want someone to call you a bad word if you could pocket 85 grand? Is that fighting racism? By pocketing 85 grand? Or is that showing everyone else around you, do it, do it, do it? Here. The sooner you plug up those holes in your cockpit, the sooner you ask, is that true? The sooner you use your truth discernment, you feel the vibration of truth inside you. The sooner you exercise that instrument every day, the harder it is for anyone around you to fuck you up. The harder it is for these stupid trains to start up. The harder it is for Black Lives Matter to do what they're doing now. It all starts with you. It all starts with you. These are so easy to see once you see them, guys. It's so easy to see. And all you need is fuel. All you need is that ego juice inside you. I've been asked to tell you guys about a documentary. In December, I started the Man from Katua project. It is a project that is built around the true history of our country. The idea is that Columbus didn't discover America, he erased it. And the Man from Katua project is that project. It's a film documentary project. We filmed some black powder shoots last winter, where we went to some Revolutionary War reenactors basically utilizing black powder. We shot those, we made a film. COVID put us behind, we were going to do a few more of those. This involves a lot of visiting to star forts and mounds. It's a beautiful documentary because it's showing you that what you've been told about our country, about our history, is not what you think. And not only is the history of slavery bullshit, but so much more is. There was something huge here in America before Christopher Columbus. Cities the size of London. Technology as advanced or maybe even more advanced than any you've ever seen. That technology was destroyed systematically. It was destroyed with immigrants that were brought over here under auspicious circumstances, many of them slaves, many of them white. And as soon as they got here, they were asked to enlist and join in the war to destroy what used to be here. And none of us see that because we have this idea of what the Civil War was. And it's not what you think it is. It's not. If you want to help this project, I encourage you to consider joining me on Patreon. All of us are working on this. It's not just me. Brent Scheidemann is another guy. He just went to see another mound, actually, but the frickin' mound was closed. They fenced it off because of COVID. It's like, you can't be getting on the mound with no COVID. History is locked up, and we want to free it. And that's what the Man from Katua is all about. So I hope that answers your question about what is Man from Katua. Additionally, I wrote a screenplay. That screenplay is available if you join Patreon for free. If not, I sell it. It's like $20. I'll mail you a copy. But it's a good screenplay. It's entertaining. It takes you through this story of what it would have been like in the land of giants. It tells the story of giants, and it tells the story of Skull and Bones and their desire to erase them. You know that symbol of the skull and bones? That's a skull and two femur bones. You guys realize that the femur, your hips, that's where you store all your pain, all your trauma. If you've ever done yoga and you've done like a hip exercise, sometimes you might even start spontaneously crying. It's because you've opened that hip up. You pulled some salt out of that hip and it leaks. And when you store Geronimo's skull and bones, you hold his essence. You hold his pranic essence. And anyone that has respect and love for Geronimo, whether they like it or not, is sending their prana out into the ether, and it goes to those bones. It goes into his hips. It goes into his skull. And whoever holds that skull and bones holds that prana. And that's what Skull and Bones is. That's why UNESCO's there. That's why the Smithsonian collected these bones. Same reason why in the Old Testament you see story after story after story of take those bones, boil them and ground them into a powder and spread them on the grove after you chop it down. Just weeks of work put into erasing the memory of bones. And that's what the Man from Cthulhu is about. It's the antithesis of that. It's a resurrection of bones. It's a resurrection of prana. Beneath your state, my friends, beneath the state of North Carolina, is the land of Cthulhu. I am a man from Cthulhu. That's the true story. That's the real story of where I am and who I'm from. And you too have that same. Beneath the story, beneath the land that you think is the name of the place you live, is another name, a deeper name, a name that has something waiting for you. And when you remember that name and you revere that name, you create a freaking circuit, a neurological circuit between the land and you. Man is the living soil. And when you remember who you are, you draw all that power into you. So remember who you are. Use ego. Use the salt in your body to pull that information up and store it. Be a carrier. Be a standard. Be a flag bearer of your ancestry, of your heritage. That's why they attacked the Confederate flag. That's why they separate us through migration. They don't want you finding your heritage because it's full of power. It's the most powerful thing outside of yourself. And it's waiting for you. Free them with the truth, as Fiji Bear says. Thank you. I'm gonna fix that. Yes, Chattanooga was built on top of another city. Thank you so much, Georgia boy. Yes. Yes. And we want our documentary to tell that story as much as possible. And I say we because I can't do this alone. I can't. I can write the script, I can coordinate, I can put people together, but I need others. I need help. And that's why we're raising money for that. So if you are interested in that project, please join Patreon. Let us know. There's even a GoFundMe. You can actually look up the GoFundMe and you'll see it there. Guys, I'm not trying to turn this into a commercial. I'm really not. I just, someone asked, and I think it's important, especially right now. Especially right now. Oh my goodness. Thank you so much, Lane LaShock. Love, love, love your show. I love, love, love your help. Thank you. Thank you so much. You guys have a beautiful day. A beautiful day. This is the best apocalypse ever. I know cities are burning, but they need to burn right now. The people that are in those cities, the reason why they're so desperate and asking for help is because Babylon needs to burn right now. And I'm not saying go out and burn. I'm saying the opposite. I'm saying use compassion. Install aperture in people. But please understand that what was there before George Floyd was not good. What was in these cities before George Floyd was not good, was not healthy, was not helping. This is how we bring about the best apocalypse ever. We have to stay positive. We have to tap into the soil. All the truth's there, guys. All the truth's there. I can't wait to tell you more. This week we'll talk about the Civil War. I'm going to tell you about Auguste Piccard and the very, 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 very first airship and what he saw. It's going to be a beautiful week, guys. Beautiful week. Have a great Tuesday. Thank you so much for being here. I encourage you all to check out Owen Benjamin. He'll probably be starting if he hasn't started already. get out there and find your day, find who you are, and